What is going on, fellas? Welcome to Workout B, where I'm doing some squats, some overhead presses, some rows, some dips, and a couple of isolation exercises. So I was luckily able to squat today, and my ego would like to remind you, if you're new to these videos, that 235 is not a personal record for me. I'm rebuilding some strength that I've lost, as you guys know, due to some knee inflammation, which is my biggest frustration in life. But we're working on it, man. We're working on it. I think the worst of the flare-ups in my knees are kind of gone. So luckily I was able to squat in this workout. The workout beat previously, the one before this that I didn't film, I wasn't able to squat. My knees were fucked. But luckily I was able to get a couple sets of squats in with 235, a couple sets of 8. So this felt pretty good, man. I'm thinking of like trying out some high bar squats. I bought some squat shoes a while back that, have the heels a little bit elevated. I'm thinking it might be able to help me get a little bit more depth since my knees just won't allow me to get deep enough. But nevertheless, these squats felt great. The squat's the king of all exercises, guys. If you're not squatting, quite frankly, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. If you have the ability to squat, you will not find a more productive exercise in the gym. So if you can squat, you have the ability to. If you don't have a serious reason to not squat, whether it's some sort of injury or structural limitation, you should be squatting. Most people who say they can't squat just don't know proper form, but you will struggle to find an exercise that is more productive for building muscle and strength and, just athleticism as well in the gym. You won't find a better exercise than the barbell back squat. So absolutely, this is a fucking key exercise in all the Polarity Fitness training programs. So like I don't program a fucking routine without squats, man. So back in the day they called this the growing exercise, and that's for good reason, man. So next I got into some overhead press here, and I want to remind you guys that I'm doing a lot of experimenting in my training right now. So I'm still not convinced that I found the best way to group the exercises together. So traditionally, the best way that I've found to do twice per week full body with 2 different sets of exercises is to do squats, bench press, and weighted chin-ups in the same workout. And then on the next workout, I do deadlifts, overhead presses, and rows. That is how I've traditionally done it, and that's the way I usually program. But I'm experimenting with putting some different exercises together. Like now I'm doing like squats with overhead press and rows, and I'm seeing how this works. But there's a couple things I feel like I'm learning with this kind of setup. I think maybe the weighted chin-ups do better in this routine instead of the rows, because after squats here, you guys will see, usually I do pendlay rows in this workout, but I had to do some back supported rows. I did some incline dumbbell rows just because I haven't been squatting recently, so my lower back was pooped after those 2 sets of squats. I think that also has to do with the fact that I'm doing beltless training right now. I'm not using a belt, so I went for this instead. I knocked out like 1 warm up set of pendlay rows, and I was like, fuck this shit. I'm not doing pendlay rows today. So I'm thinking the weighted chin ups go better in this routine after the squats. Like it's my mission right now to find out, like, especially as I'm revamping the Herculean bulking program, I'm trying to find out like what is the absolute best way to group these exercises together. So that's my mission in my training right now, trying to figure it out. I definitely think I came up with this concept called 3-2-1, which refers to the sets for the different exercises. So when it comes to upper body presses like overhead press, bench press, I think 3 sets works the best. When it comes to squats, 2 sets works best. And when it comes to like conventional deadlifts, 1 set works best. Although I'm not doing conventional deadlifts in my routine right now, I'm doing Romanian deadlifts, which I think helps with recovery. It gives me a great stimulus in the hamstrings, the posterior chain in general, but without destroying my recovery, my lower back. So I've been liking the Romanian deadlifts as of late. I haven't trained conventional deadlifts in a while. Conventional deadlifts definitely make it a little bit harder to program. It can be done if you do it right, but conventional deadlifts are tricky to program because of how taxing they are. But that's what I found to be the best. Like for upper body presses, I generally like 3 sets. And then when it comes to squats, 2 sets works really, really well. And even like weighted pull-ups, I also like doing 2 sets. So I'm trying to find out what the best way to program this shit is, man. I think the overhead press, especially doing it after squats, benefits from using higher reps. So generally speaking, I train it in more of like a 6 to 8 rep range. But I think working in more like an 8 to 10, 8 to 12 rep range on overhead press, especially if you're doing it after lower body training in a full body setup, works better, because then your core, it doesn't have to stabilize as much. You can focus on just pressing the weights and getting a good shoulder stimulus. So what I'm thinking is that squats first, of course, in this routine, and then weighted chin-ups next, just so that I'm training it like, I'm getting that kind of, I don't know if this is a placebo or not, but I've always loved training weighted chin-ups after squats, just because you get such a spinal compression from squats, and then doing weighted chin-ups after just feels really good. It like decompresses you, and I find that works really, really well. And then I'd probably do overhead press after that. And then on the other workout, I would do bench press first with deadlifts, as I'm doing right now, but then put the rows after the deadlifts. I think that's the way to do it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I made incredible progress on this setup and also on the other setup where I'm doing like squats, bench press, and then weighted chin-ups. I think the bench press deserves to go first in one of the workouts, and so does the squat. I think those are the two exercises that should be trained fresh. And that's kind of the way I like it. So that's probably a change I'm going to make in my programs. But we'll see, man. Like, I'm always experimenting, trying to find out what's best. But now, yeah, I went into some incline dumbbell curls here. This is probably my favorite bicep curl. I was using, I think, 45-pound dumbbells here, so I've been progressing really well on the isolation exercises here. And I did some neck curls after this. I'm probably gonna throw in some ab work on the other workout, just because now that I'm doing beltless training, it becomes even more important to just have like a really strong core. So I think some core training is important. A couple sets of hanging leg raises or knee raises, or even ab wheel rollouts I'm a big fan of. But yeah, this is kind of my favorite setup here, man. I think this is kind of the best way to do it. I think three really good compound lifts per session. Maximum four compound lifts per session, and then 2 isolation exercises. So 5 to 6 exercises in each of these workouts, for 2 to 3 hard sets per exercise, 2 on squats. As I said, like, you can do 2 sets per exercise on upper body presses as well. I just think like it benefits from 3 sets. And then, if you're doing conventional deadlifts, 1 hard set, Romanian deadlifts, 2 good sets works well. And then isolation exercises, you only ever really need 2 sets. But yeah, man, this is some shit that I'm realizing right now. And it's kind of cool that I like started doing these vlogs at this point in time where I'm experimenting with new stuff. Obviously, the principles will always remain the main principles, but within all the interpretations of the Polarity Fitness training approach, there are different ways to kind of do it. And I'm trying to find out what that is right now, especially in this period of time where I'm really trying to, revamp my entire program, make it fucking exceptional, world class. I'm trying to find out what is the best way to structure this, because I've done different ways, and I've made obviously incredible progress, but I think there's something to be said for this way I'm doing it right here with the in terms of the structure of the routines. So yeah, man, hitting some nice neck curls here, building that thick fucking neck. Having a thick neck is key, man. Like, you gotta have a thick neck. I don't really like doing the neck extensions, especially with a plate. So I mostly just stick to curls. That's a question I've gotten a lot recently, so that's cleared up. But that's the end of this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll talk soon, man. Peace.